everyone's experience is going to be different, right? If I had a dollar for every time someone said, oh, so-and-so has autism and they're totally different than your kids, or blah, 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 are you sure? So I think just kind of getting, hey, everyone's different. It's a spectrum. Back to the quote, you met one person with autism. You met one person with autism. So just everyone's experience really will be different. Autism can be very unpredictable. Something that was easy could become a challenge, and something that was a challenge can become a success in no time. So it's really important to celebrate those wins along the way and just get people to understand that, right? Instead of, hey, it's really hard for my child to sit at a restaurant, so we're going to have to sit out this birthday dinner. And them thinking, and then someone interpreting that as, oh my God, we can never have a birthday dinner again because Monica's child can't go. Just kind of getting people on board, like, hey, it's a challenge now, but it's something we're working on, and let's see what next year brings. Because I think the other side of this, being on the receiving, being the parent on the diagnosis, is that you don't want to be left out because you said no. Right? You said no once, and then you're never thought of again. So I think it's really important to just say, hey, it's just not, it's not working now, but let us know next time you do it, and maybe that will be a little bit different. And then kind of same thing, the diagnosis can be really hard on relationships. There's going to be a lot of opinions. There's a lot of opinions right now in the world on it too, right? So it's really, I think at the end of the day, in my experience, most people really do just want to help, and they don't know how. And they think that when they share their experience or opinion, that is helping you. But I think it's not your experience, right? So it's, how do I not take those opinions personally and just say, like, hey, thank you for your feedback, but this is we're going to go in this other direction. There's so many different ways to manage it. But I do think at the end of the day, families especially, they really do have good intentions behind what they say. But they can say some wild stuff. I've experienced it a ton in the last 12 years. So and then the other piece I think that's really important is siblings. Having siblings being part of those discussions, talking about the diagnosis. Their childhood experience might look different than their friends, and having an understanding of that is really important, and helps them navigate it in their own way as well. And then finding resources for your child that they need and they deserve can be really challenging, and that can cause a lot of extra stress for you. And like overnight, you become this huge advocate for your child. And when you're doing that with providers and schools, and then on the back end, you're also having to advocate for your child in these circumstances where Thanksgiving dinner should be an easy, fun holiday. Most families are just showing up. Like, that can really be stressful. So again, I think just communicating, hey, this is the situation we're in. This is what works with my child. This doesn't. How can we work together to come up with the best way to support my child at your event is really important. And then at the end of the day, like, finding a village, people that understand and have your experience or similar experiences, or you can just vent to, like, hey, I went to Thanksgiving dinner and my sister-in-law wanted me to stay in a room with 18 kids, and that was never going to work for us. Like, I feel like they don't want me. But so having someone else to vent to, and then also bounce some alternative ideas, just like we did in this group a couple of minutes ago, is just so important. And I think can make the world of difference as you navigate the diagnosis, and then also just autism in general. Next slide. And then I think, again, communication is so important. And I think the next big piece is education, right? Knowledge is power. The more families and our loved ones are educated on autism and how they can manage and help you, the less scary and overwhelming it becomes. So providing family with resources, and I think the key here is to do their own research on autism. As a parent, caregiver of someone with a disability, it is not your responsibility to educate others on the diagnosis. Everyone has access to the same books, the same podcasts, the same Google searches, so they can do their own research as well. So just encourage them. You can give them, hey, I heard these, I have a couple books on the next page that I always refer our family and friends to look into, and I've read to the kids' schools. And I think providing them those resources, but encourage them to do the work and read and learn about it as well will go a long way. And then involving your spouse, significant others, family in the process when planning these appointments, finding providers. You don't want that to just fall on one person. The bigger your village is to surround that, the easier it is to kind of manage multiple things coming your way. And again, back to that, like finding your village, look to establish an autism network in your community. You want to look for support groups, online webinars, conferences, network with other families, and SIB shops for children as well. And next slide, please. Okay, so these are some of my favorite books that I give out I have copies of them, or I refer people to the library as well to kind of give our family, our friends, our classmates, our Cub Scout mates a little glimpse into the life of my two boys. And I have found that kids really are curious and have a lot of questions, and it's great to kind of give them some resources to just start to educate them. And in our experience, our children's peers have become their best advocates. And I apologize for my dog barking. The mountain is outside. But just kind of, again, looking for resources. This by no means is a full list, but this is a good place to start. One of my favorites on this list is Why Johnny Doesn't Flap. NT, neurotypical, is okay. And it talks about autism from an autistic child's perspective, right? In this book, the boy, I believe his name was Simon, says, hey, Johnny, why don't you worry about time? Why don't you line up your trains? You know, like it's from his perspective of what a neurotypical child and how they're a little bit different. So, okay, next slide. Okay. Recognizing the challenges. You and your spouse and family approach to supporting your child with autism may definitely be different. You want to not allow negative feelings to fester, right? Back to that communication being so important. Look for support of a third party if you need to, right? Therapy can be a good thing. Just talking to another parent, kind of venting to friends, like that's so important as well. And you want to just create an environment where you can really have open and honest dialogue about your child and their diagnosis. I know it's easier said than done, but I really do think it makes such a world of difference. Hey, this is my child. You have to meet them where they're at, and this is what motivates them. And I think honestly, people grow so much when you can get into an autistic child's world, if you're willing to do that. And some people, I think, just don't know how to do that or how to ask or approach. And I think, again, just creating that environment where you can have that dialogue is so important. And then when navigating events, holidays, plan ahead. What works for your child might be different than everyone's used to, and that's okay. I know we go to my aunt's for Thanksgiving. It's about 40 people at the house, kind of similar to Christy's list. We do not stay over, but it's a long day. And I'll call my aunt and we'll talk before, and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to bring some chicken nuggets. And do you mind if we kind of set up a quiet space in the room? And I kind of just give her a heads up, like, hey, Tommy might be like on his iPad or might be reading books, and is there somewhere he can draw, giving him access to those things. I I also will bring like a timer, right? Or I'll use my phone to just say, hey, all right, Tom, we're going to do this we're going to sit at this table with everyone for dinner for 30 minutes. And then you can kind of take a break and go into your quiet spot, right? And I say this like it's so easy now, but that's not where we started by any means. We had to work together and kind of find what works for us as a family. But again, I think just kind of planning ahead and it eases my anxiety in those situations as well, if I know what I'm going into and what could possibly be a challenge, and also what are some resources nearby. One thing we'll do on Thanksgiving is we'll make sure we go for a walk. Another thing people do a lot around the holidays is go to like mass together. I know my kids are not going to be successful in that environment, so we'll say, hey, we'll meet up with you after that event. My child just is not going to be successful sitting in a church for 45 minutes waiting for it to begin. Different kind of things. Or, hey, can we come right at the end? Can you save us a seat and make that work? Or even say, hey, we're going to try it for an hour and then we're going to leave early. There's just so many different approaches. And I think it's coming out of your comfort zone and being just open and saying like, hey, this is what's going to happen for us. And we want to be there, but it's just going to look a little bit different. And then I think the other big thing is just like planning for the future together, right? That can be very scary and daunting for parents. What does support look like for my child in adulthood? And what it can be very intimidating to have those conversations, especially with extended family. But it is important to try to start those early, include the siblings into discussions, and then again, just grow that support network around your child. All right, next slide. Okay, asking for help. This is one that I know I often struggle with, but it really is so important. And again, I think it goes back to that, what I said in the beginning is that I do believe the intention of most people is that they want to help and they want to be there for you and your child. They just really don't know how. So give them some suggestions, right? Asking for help. Like what is something that you do without thinking that would really, if it was off your plate, you kind of have a little bit more time to say, take your other child or to an appointment or run to the grocery store, that you just can, that someone else can help you manage. So whether that be taking your child to an appointment, helping out with your other kids, dropping off a dinner, running errands, just being there as a, to listen, kind of, as an ear, to listen to your concerns that you have and just be there for you. And then I think most importantly is just like an outlet outside of autism, right? Sometimes you just don't want to talk about the diagnosis, the challenges anymore. And you just want an event that, hey, I want to just go out and be me and forget about being a mom for a minute. And I want to go out to dinner and talk about Bravo shows or something like that, So I think it's okay to just say like, hey, I know you're concerned about my child, or I know you want to help out with this, but really tonight I just want to talk about TV or something, whatever that topic is. I want to talk about the Phillies. I want to talk about the Eagles, whatever that looks like. But just asking for help. People aren't mind readers, and asking for what you need. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised of people that can show up for you in those circumstances. And then, but sometimes it doesn't work, right? So I think your family can have the best intentions and might not show up for you the way that you need them to. And in those cases, you can look for supports outside your family. There's a lot of access to respite services, finding even a local babysitter in your community, a neighbor that can help out, etc. Looking beyond those normal extended family for assistance and kind of looking outside and into your community for how you can kind of navigate life. I know one thing that was really important to us in the beginning when my son was 3 was being out in the community safely. And at that time, he was not able to go to a park. He would be trying to jump the fence, run to another city. And we were just very much on high alert, and we had another son as well. And so it was really important for us to learn, like, hey, we want to be able to take a walk from our house and go to the park and be safe and enjoy it for 30 minutes even. And so what we did then was we looked to our ABA therapist, and we made that a goal. And then that was something that we worked on for what seemed like a really long time. But a year later, that was something that we were able to navigate as a family. So again, looking to those supports outside of family when you need to. And then before I start to this side, I just saw a question about how do you find babysitters and caretakers who can handle kids with autism? I think that's a really great question. It is not that easy. I found that we've had to do a lot of trial and error. And then when we find one that's wonderful, we try to hold on to them for as long as we can. I think the other thing too is to look to family. One summer, another quick story, we had summer camp, and the person that they assigned to my child just was not a good fit. It was just not someone that could keep up with my son. But it was really important for us to go to this camp. So we actually looked outside and asked like family friends. We had a family friend that was a nurse, and asked her like, hey, do you have anybody, any of your coworkers or coworkers, siblings, do you have that might be interested in this job? And we found someone that way. So I think, again, unfortunately, not like a magical page that you can go to and find it. I think it's really trial and error, but kind of going outside, like the different, say, care.com, just kind of expanding into the community and asking people that are in fields that would normally service a child with a disability, right? So a special ed teacher in the summer might be a really great fit, an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, someone going to school for those things. All of those have been really good resources for us to try. You can even call local colleges and ask for a list of, hey, can I get a post out to the nursing school distro, and I have I'm looking for a babysitter. So just different ways like that as well. And then just keep in mind, your child best. Again, people do often have the best intentions and do want to help. They just don't know how to, and they might not go about it in the best way. But I really do think that they do have the best intentions there, and they want to help. Sometimes they just need direction. But also on the flip side of that, know that it's okay to say no. Some events and activities may not work, and that's okay. When we started this journey, we said yes to everything, and my husband and I would be spent at the end of a weekend. And then we'd go back to work on Monday and be like, what do we do? And we just ran around and we pleased all these people and we ran ourselves ragged. And again, as we grow in this journey, we learned a lot, and we learned to kind of say no, like, hey, I appreciate it. I'm thinking of it. We would be there if we could. We're not going to make it. Or we divide and conquer sometimes, right? I say, hey, this isn't an event that my one son is going to be successful at. Why don't you take our other child? And I'll stay here and we'll do something different. And we do that from time to time as well. But you have to do what works for you. And on that note, you can make new traditions and experiences. My older son loves trains, so we work trains into every holiday that we can, right? We'll go on a train ride to pick a pumpkin. We'll go on a vacation in the summer and find a nearby train to check out, and that has become one of our traditions with our family. And it is fun, but it definitely can be different. And there's a lot of emotions that come along with that, especially in the beginning. Again, most important, I think, really is what's hard for your child may end up being something they excel at next year. You don't want to ever give up and be open to trying new experiences. We always say in our house, we will try something once. We have cried till we laughed based on some of our experiences. And we've also had some wins in areas where we never thought we would. But really, I think just kind of being willing to try new experiences and expose your child to them is so important. And there's so many sensory friendly hotels, experiences out there, but it's not very well advertised. And I think even if you're going to go to a new place, like, hey, we're going to go to a pumpkin patch, let me call ahead, see, hey, do you have any sensory supports in this environment? Just like you would if you were going to a concert or a hotel, etc. So just kind of thinking, being that proactive advocate, I think is so important. And don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. You can't do it alone. And you really need to prioritize taking care of yourself so you can take care of your family. All right.